I am Mary's fiancé and also her childhood friend. That day, I saw her kissing another man, the so-called good brother. I'm really annoyed with him. He controls me every day. She complained while hugging him. Her good brother chuckled. Isn't it because you spoiled him? I told you to set some rules for him. Then he wouldn't dare. If you don't listen, who can you blame? Oh, so that's how it is. Actually, I wasn't that desperate for her. Later, as she wished, I left, but she seemed like a different person, saying she wouldn't marry anyone but me. In the evening, Mary sent me a message asking me to deliver the wine from her house to the bar. I caught a cold yesterday, had a fever, felt dizzy, and stayed in bed all day. She clearly knew that drinking too much is bad for your health, and the security there is not good. Come back early, I messaged her. A call came through. After connecting, there was a burst of noise on the other end. Everyone quiet. Let's see how Mary tames her husband. Huh? Mary, we're watching you. Amidst the laughter and chatter, she asked, have you eaten? I was taken aback. I have. My sisters are all waiting. Why is it so difficult for you to deliver something? She said unhappily. You have the energy to eat, but not to come over. I took cold medicine, and now I feel dizzy, I said hoarsely. It's very chaotic over there, and not long ago a girl was kidnapped by a thug. Come back early, Mary. Forget it. I knew you couldn't handle it. Go buy some drinks for the ladies. It was a harsh male voice I was very familiar with, Mary's good brother, Tom. Don't worry, Mary. Even though you lost your brother, I won't deny you the drinks, he joked. The crowd started to cheer again. A wave of nausea suddenly rose in my stomach. George, are you coming or not? Mary's voice carried a familiar impatience. I closed my eyes. Okay, I'm on my way. I took a cab and arrived at the bar. Pushing the door open, I immediately saw Mary standing in the center of the room, passionately kissing Tom amidst a chorus of cheers. When she spotted me, the noisy crowd suddenly fell silent. Noticing the unusual atmosphere, Tom glanced over and said, "Oh." Releasing Mary, she looked dazed and unsure of what to do. She tried to hug him again, but was pushed away by Tom. Someone has arrived. Mary pouted in dissatisfaction and frowned at me. She looked quite drunk. When our eyes met, Tom, seemingly absent-mindedly, wiped his lips and smiled. Bro, don't get the wrong idea. We lost the game and are being punished. I glanced at him. He wasn't wearing a shirt. Mary and her friends had praised him more than once. Handsome and well-endowed. I walked over, suppressing a headache, and placed the drinks on the glass table. The drinks are here. I'm leaving. Hey, bro, don't be mad. Tom suddenly threw his arm around my shoulder. Since you're here, have a drink before you go. I turned back, frowning at him. The girls here can testify that we're just messing around like siblings. If you misunderstand this, would it be wrong? Huh? Misunderstanding. I turned my head. Messing around like siblings? He nodded. I casually pointed at one of the girls. Then you should kiss her too. Tom's face instantly turned pale. No, bro. What do you take me for? As he said this, his eyes were filled with humiliation. At that moment, a girl stood up. We're just playing drinking games. What era is this? Don't you understand women's freedom? Don't restrict her with your futile theories. Exactly, just playing. I turned my head to look at the crowd. Do you know why I haven't caused a scene here? Because I'm feeling unwell today and don't want to waste my breath on scum. But if you provoke me again, be careful that no one leaves today. A few people fell silent, exchanging glances for a while, then looked at Mary. Mary, you see this? Enough. I turned around and Mary walked over, grabbing my arm. What's wrong with you today? I've said it's just siblings messing around. Why are you being so relentless? You've ruined the good atmosphere. What did Tom do wrong? I'm sorry, bro. It's my fault. At that moment, Tom caught up. If I had known you two would argue, I wouldn't have insisted on drinking this. Hey, Mary, you'll continue playing with the girls. You hurry back with your brother. As soon as those words were spoken, Mary's expression changed. She suddenly shouted at me. George, don't go too far. I'm telling you, even though I'm your girlfriend and am also an independent woman, don't use your concern for me as an excuse to restrict me. What I want to do and who I want to play with is my freedom. I quietly looked at her, a wave of exhaustion suddenly crashing over me from all sides. At this moment, I just wanted to leave this ridiculous place immediately. I shook off Mary's hand and turned to leave. Hey bro, don't be mad. Tom came over to pull me back, but I pushed him away. Ah, he stumbled and fell directly to the ground. Mary's anger seemed to ignite even more at this fall. George, stop, she shouted from behind. I turned back to see her supporting the aggrieved Tom, her face dark with anger. Apologize to Tom. I paused, calmly looking at her furious face. This face had once shown me a variety of expressions: worry, love, heartache, acting cute. Nowadays, however, she often glares at me for her good brother. If you don't apologize today, well, part ways, she continued. At this moment, all her good friends in the private room were watching us three with a look of amusement. I felt like a monkey in a circus. I even thought that fighting here, despite my aching body, would be pointless and ridiculous. Why bother dirtying my own hands? All right, I took a step forward. What? Mary frowned. Oh, Mary, look at you. Tom glanced at me and affectionately patted Mary. What are you doing? Don't make it hard for your brother. What did you say? Mary asked again. I said, all right. I looked at her calmly. I agree. Let's part ways. Maybe because I was still a bit dizzy, I realized my house key wasn't in my pocket. When I got into the taxi, it might have fallen in the bar's hallway. I had no choice but to go back to look for it. Fortunately, the bartender found it, and just as he handed me the key, the door to Mary's private room suddenly opened. Tom was supporting a drunken Mary, walking towards the restroom while complaining, "Oh, come on. Really, even if you're angry, you need to take care of yourself. If you don't care about yourself, someone else does," Mary said with a silly smile as she cupped his face. You know, why can't he be as good as you? He gives me attitude just for bringing a drink, and he wants to break up? Tom let out a sigh. Oh dear, he really is quite inconsiderate. You've been so good to him, and other guys would be so envious. But when he says break up, it must be out of anger. A rich second-generation girl like you. How could he bear to break up with you? Doesn't he always come back? Rich second-generation money. Mary paused for a moment. Maybe just like you said, he's after my money. After saying that, she murmured, actually, sometimes I really get annoyed. He checks on me every day, and I don't even mind that he's poor. Mary, Tom sighed. I'm telling you the truth. Don't always take it the wrong way. He's like this because you've spoiled him. We've all told you to set some rules for him, and he wouldn't dare act like this anymore. If he can't bear to, who can you blame? And stop always thinking about whether he's after your money. Look at how he's got you wrapped around his finger. He's just after money, and you can't bear to break up with him, so don't make yourself unhappy. As they spoke, the two of them entered the bar's accessible restroom, and with a click, the door locked from the inside. My stomach turned again. I turned around and left. Maybe it was because I went out for a breeze at night, but I developed a fever in the middle of the night. In my dreams, I seem to think about the things between Mary and me in the past. We grew up together in an orphanage. I was not very healthy as a child, and Mary was like my little white moonlight. She would run barefoot to find a doctor for me when I was sick, holding my hand and saying in her tender voice, "George, don't worry. It'll be with you for a lifetime." Once, when the orphanage caught fire, she was clearly rescued but ran back in to save me, who was suffering from a high fever. Her shoulder was burned by falling embers, leaving a permanent scar. At that time, I thought, what kind of love could be more important than one's own life? I had no parents, no relatives. Mary was the best person in the world to me, so I told myself, George, you must always treat Mary well. At 16, Mary's biological parents came looking for her. It turned out she was the long-lost daughter of the JIS family. They took her back, and she suddenly became wealthy, but she didn't forget me. She would secretly come to my high school to see me, and we agreed to take the same university entrance exam. We really did get into the same university. We were the most popular couple on campus. It was during this time that Tom appeared in Mary's and my life. Tom was a bit of a celebrity in the college town, known for his fitness videos and well-built physique. He was surrounded by many female friends. The JIS family had a significant presence here, and I could see what these friends of Mary were after. Having seen the ups and downs of life, I reminded Mary more than once. She, however, took it lightly. On the contrary, She enjoyed the feeling of being the center of attention. After officially dating in college, Mary brought me to the JIS family. She knelt on the ground and told her parents that she would only marry me in this lifetime. Mary's father had a kind face. He was particularly indulgent with Mary, but extremely harsh with me. In his eyes, I, an orphan of unknown origin, was not worthy of the JIS family's threshold. When her parents disagreed, Mary stood in the rain at the villa entrance, soaking all night, and the next day she was hospitalized with pneumonia, her fever reaching 40 degrees. I felt sorry for Mary. To avoid putting her in a difficult position between me and her parents, I tried to make her parents happy. In the JIS family, I felt like a commodity, always being scrutinized, pointed at, and commented on by those in high positions. I didn't tell Mary about this. I didn't want her to worry about my relationship with her family. After graduating from college, I had received a good job offer. My boss appreciated me, and if I worked hard, the prospects were very bright. However, the JIS family wouldn't allow me to go and insisted that I work for the JIS company. At that time, Mary and I had a big fight. She said I was too willful and got very angry. I just don't understand. I'm going to inherit the JIS family in the future. If you don't come to help me, what are you thinking, George? Why are you always so selfish? I made so much effort for my family to accept you. Why can't you understand me a little? As she spoke, she cried. That year, I risked my life to save you. Can't you compromise a little for me? So I compromised again. In the JIS family, I had to endure Mary's father's deliberate difficulties, accept his constant criticism, and always pay attention to my words and actions, making sure no one could find fault. My performance was excellent, but even so, he completely denied me any promotion opportunities. Young man, don't take positions and money so seriously. What I give you is the most valuable training opportunity. You're my future son-in-law. My strictness and harshness towards you are meant to help you grow. If I promote you, others will gossip. Instead of thinking about that, you should take good care of my daughter. And because of Mary, I endured all of this. Because she saved my life, because she had been so good to me, because she is the only light in my life. Just thinking of her, the one who risked everything for me, even her life, just seeing the scar on her shoulder from saving me. No matter how fierce our arguments are, I would always find a reason to reconcile with her. I ask for nothing else. Just hope we can go on for a long time. It's until today that I understood she thought I wouldn't leave her because I couldn't bear to part with her money. It turns out she was so annoyed with me. This deliberate testing has actually happened more than once. The reason I went to deliver the wine was probably to kill my own heart, to suppress the last straw in my dreams. The sunny girl from my memories seems to be standing behind me, waving her hand and happily calling out to me, "George, wait for me. Let's go together." But I no longer wish to walk with her. I take one step after another forward until I reach the end of the sunset. When I look back, the figure from my memories has long been washed away by the rain, disappearing without a trace. No signs of existence remain. The next day, I woke up. My fever had broken. Although my body was exhausted, I opened my suitcase and started packing. At that moment, the apartment door opened, and Tom's voice came through the bedroom door. "Mary, this afternoon we're watching Slam Dunk. Remember we agreed to relive it together? It'll bring you the Shang Beat cheerleader outfit." Mary shyly responded with AMM. I paused my packing. Today was supposed to be the day Mary and I went to meet my biological parents. A week ago, someone from the orphanage contacted me saying they might have found my biological parents. They requested a hair sample for DNA testing first, and today was the day the results would come out. When I first received the notification, I felt nervous and anxious, but Mary promised she would accompany me. Yet just a few days later, she forgot and decided to go watch Slam Dunk with someone else. The bedroom door creaked open. It was Mary. "What are you doing?" She frowned at me as I packed. "I don't have time to travel with you right now." "I don't need you to come," I said. "We broke up last night, and I'm moving out today." She was taken aback for a moment, then suddenly laughed. "George, they all say I've spoiled you too much, and I didn't think so before, but now look at what you've become. Always threatening to break up. Are you so sure I can't live without you?" She squatted down, disgustedly pulling my hands away from my packing. Enough already. Wasn't last night enough of a show? Using the excuse of delivering wine to humiliate me in front of everyone. Deliberately making Tom uncomfortable? Are you still not satisfied? A surge of anger suddenly welled up in my chest, and I looked up to meet her gaze. Mary, first, I told you I wasn't feeling well, and you insisted I deliver the wine. Second, you kissed Tom first, and he came over to talk to me first. I was already being nice by not hitting him. Third, it was you who said a breakup. I shook off her hand and zipped up my suitcase. I never assumed you couldn't live without me, and I'm not dependent on you either. Is this really interesting to you? She raised her voice. Am I in debt to you or something? She started to lose her temper. George, don't you know how good I've been to you? I would have given my life for you back then. Last night, I just asked you to deliver some wine to see how sincere you really are, and it turns out I got my answer. She grabbed my arm. Do you know what my friends say about you behind your back? They say I'm a fool, that you're just after my money. Can't you prove otherwise? What have you done for me? I've given so much for you. What have you done for me? Is it wrong for me to want to verify? I remained silent, and her anger intensified. I really love the wrong person. You really want to break up, right? If you don't want to stay, then let's break up. Before you walk out that door, you better think it through. The position of the JIS family's son-in-law won't be reserved for just anyone. I looked up at her eyes, which were dull from a hangover. In the past, through those eyes, I saw a beautiful past, mutual support, sweet love, and a hopeful future. But now, all I could see was desolation. Mary, you succeeded, I said. What? She was stunned for a moment. Mary, you have succeeded. Successfully made me sick of this relationship. Successfully made me stop loving you. I left the apartment. I haven't found a new place yet, nor do I have a job, and I spent half a day at the KFC on the corner. Just now, the DNA test results came out. Tonight, I will meet my biological parents. Previously, Mary said that the parents who would throw away their newborn child couldn't be good people. Now seeking me out might be because they know about my relationship with her and want to take advantage of the JIS family's money and resources. Now that I have broken up with Mary, I wonder if they will be disappointed when they see me. What family really is, I don't actually know. Mary once said she was my family, and her family was also my family, but with these so-called family members, I only felt exhaustion and torment. Today's sunset is beautiful, with clouds rolling and stretching in the sky, bathed in a layer of warm golden light. I sat by the window watching the sun slowly sink down and finally picked up my suitcase and walked out of the KFC. The agreed meeting place is at a restaurant not far away. I was pulling my suitcase and was about to cross the road when a scooter suddenly sped towards me from a distance. In an instant, a girl standing in front of me couldn't dodge in time, and I quickly pulled her back, causing both her and the suitcase to spin around. The scooter whizzed past, brushing against the edge of her skirt. Are you okay? I asked. She shook her head and hardly thanked me. It's fine. There are a lot of scooters around here. You have to be careful whether walking or driving. I smiled. But to my surprise, she said, You are George? I was also taken aback. I am George. You are my cousin's wife's sister. She smiled. You look a lot like Uncle Venus. No need for DNA. The Venus family has also been scammed and is overly cautious, but there have indeed been quite a few plastic surgery scammers coming to seek relatives. There's nothing we can do, she sighed. Let's go. She enthusiastically led the way. There are many people in the Venus group, so the meeting at the Starlight Group's restaurant today is also to protect you. I know everyone, so don't worry. You said Venus Starlight. She thought for a moment and then exclaimed, Ah, I forgot you still don't know. She smiled. You are the only son of the second young master of the Venus group. I am Nicole from the Starlight Group. My sister Emily married your cousin, so our families are in-laws. I still hadn't reacted when I found myself at the entrance of the restaurant with Nicole. A group of people was standing at the door, anxiously looking in our direction. At that moment, a beautiful lady suddenly rushed over and hugged me. Is it George? Is it my George? She cried uncontrollably. It really is my child, Venus. Our child has come back. A tall gentleman walked over behind her, his eyes also red. Yes, our child has come back. I looked at the face in front of me, which resembled mine by about 70%, and my eyes involuntarily felt a sting. "Let's go inside first," Nicole said softly beside me. Today, the director of the orphanage and the police are all present. They recounted the process of finding me. It turned out that when my mother, Jessica, gave birth to me, she had a nanny named Madison. After giving birth, Jessica fell ill for a while, and Madison, seeing Jessica's poor health, tried to seduce my biological father, Venus. Taking advantage of her looks, Venus did not fall for it. Madison, humiliated and angry, secretly returned after being fired and stole me away. At that time, technology was not as advanced as it is now, and even though Venus's family was wealthy, they searched for a long time without finding Madison. It wasn't until 6 months later that the police discovered Madison's and a baby's clothes and shoes on an undeveloped beach, along with a suicide note she had left behind. The note said that since she could not have Venus, she would make sure he would never forget her, so she took his child and died together with him. The police later found Madison's body in the sea, but they never found mine. They speculated that I might have been eaten by fish. Over the years, although most people assumed I had long since perished, my parents never gave up. Venus and Jessica never had another child. They held on to a glimmer of hope, searching and waiting. But Madison had not actually killed me. Perhaps it was the last shred of kindness in her heart, or maybe she wanted to satisfy some of her darker desires. She left me at the entrance of an orphanage in a neighboring county, leaving a note saying my name was George and that she could not raise me because she was an unwed mother. She said her name was Madison. Later, the welfare home caught fire, and we children were uniformly sent to a welfare home in Hing. But because my background was documented and my birth mother was Madison, no one ever thought that I would be the little master of the Venus family who had died shortly after birth. For so many years, I lived in the same city as my biological parents, yet we had never seen each other until recently during a charity project by the Starlight Group. Nicole, the daughter of the Starlight Group, was chatting with the director of my previous welfare home and mentioned that great fire from years ago. The director pulled out a group photo of the children from that time, and Nicole noticed that I looked very much like a young version of Venus. She had her doubts and informed the Venus family about this. Over the years, the Venus family had encountered too many fraudsters claiming to be relatives, with some even bribing hospitals to forge DNA reports just to inherit the vast fortune of Venus and Jessica. A century later, when it came to recognizing relatives, they were as anxious as I was but dared not hold out hope. Although they were eager to meet me, they had held back until now, fearing that the greater the hope, the greater the disappointment. In the evening, my parents and I returned home together. My uncle and cousin's family were also there. Dad asked me, "George, we heard from the director of the Welfare Institute that you were dating JIS's daughter. Is that true?" I was taken aback. "Mom and Dad don't mean anything by it," he quickly added. "Although JIS's family is quite a bit worse off than ours. If you like her, we support you." I shook my head. "Dad, Mom, I've already broken up with her." Dad asked me what I wanted to do next, and if I was willing to learn and manage the company. Of course, I was willing. Becoming an outstanding entrepreneur had always been my dream. However, this dream had been suppressed by the JIS family. They never gave me opportunities in the company and only hoped I would be a good, obedient son-in-law. A few days later, my cousin Anthony came to see me, and Nicole was also there. Anthony said that my dad's health had not been good in recent years. The mental torment of searching for me and the pressure of work felt like two mountains pressing down on him. The doctor had long suggested he retire and rest. In fact, I had already noticed signs from his graying hair. Although he was 5 years younger than my uncle, he looked much older. "George, the Venus Group currently has 2 major business segments, one with me and one with your second uncle. Eventually, your second uncle's part will be handed over to you," Anthony said. "Are you willing to start taking over gradually now?" I nodded. "I am willing." Nicole, who had been silent until then, suddenly interjected, "I don't have much to do lately, so I'll come help too." So I went to work at the Venus Group, but first concealed my identity and took on the role of executive assistant. Nicole also joined the Venus Group as my partner. At first glance, she seemed like a carefree rich girl, but after spending time together, you would realize that this was just a facade. She is also a very capable manager. We negotiated together, met clients together, and held meetings together. She appeared casual, yet often managed to hit the opponent's weaknesses right on target amidst laughter and conversation. She seemed indifferent to many things, yet always had a firm grasp on the overall situation, handling everything with ease. After work, we took time to review our discussions, simulate negotiations under different scenarios, and think of countermeasures. Her keen observation skills helped me a lot. When I was tired, she would playfully urge me to rest. "There's no need to push yourself when you're tired," she laughed. A philosopher once said, "Rest is for going further." Who is it? I widened my eyes. She blinked. I forgot his name, but I think what he said makes a lot of sense. Being with Nicole was comfortable and relaxed, and my long-standing tension and struggles seemed to ease under her influence. During this period with her company, I learned a lot at the Venus Group and grew quickly. Soon a month passed. Amid the busyness, one noon, I unexpectedly ran into Mary and Tom at the Starlight Group's mall. Nicole's birthday was next week, and I wanted to help her pick a birthday gift as a thank you for her help, but she actually lacked nothing. Even this mall belonged to her family. After choosing for a while, I finally picked a red blessing knot. After all, it was a token of my appreciation. As I passed a few luxury brand counters, I suddenly heard Tom's voice. "You're buying this perfume for Annie? She'd definitely like it." The mall was quite empty at noon, and when I turned around, the two by the counter had already seen me. Mary looked a bit unenergetic, but when she saw me, her eyes seemed to light up. "George!" Tom glanced at Mary, then at the bag I was holding, and immediately walked over with a smile. "Bro, you're also here to buy a birthday gift for Annie," he exclaimed. "This gift, listen to me, this won't do. Buy something more upscale. Let me teach you. A man has to present something nice for Annie to like it." Upon hearing Tom's words, Mary's chin slightly lifted. "Where have you been this past month?" she frowned. "Don't think that just because you made a knot, I'll forgive you." As she spoke, her gaze fell on my work badge. "What is this?" "Executive office." The temporary badge had no name, and Tom read the words on my badge one by one, covering his mouth with a laugh. "Bro, why did you go to the Venus Group to be a receptionist temporary worker?" Mary's frown deepened. "Where I work is none of your concern," I said calmly, turning to leave. "Bro, that's not right. Why are you sulking like a girl?" Tom stepped forward to stop me, looking up at Mary with concern. "You can't just ignore Mary because you're upset." Just then, Mary spoke up. "Tom, wait for me over there." Tom paused reluctantly, stuffed his hands in his pockets, and walked away. Mary came over and snatched the gift box from my hands. "What is a big man doing as a receptionist? Are you trying to embarrass me?" she said angrily. "Stop messing around and hurry back. And you haven't been to the company for so long. Mom is angry." "I should have sent my resignation letter long ago," I replied calmly. "I've submitted my resignation letter. Do you have to make a scene before you're satisfied? What will you do when Mom and Dad won't let you in the door anymore? Do you think that by tying this worthless red string, they will forgive you?" "Mary!" I snatched the box back and coldly interrupted her. "We've broken up. How many more times do I have to say it? The red string is for someone else. It has nothing to do with your mom." But she still wouldn't let go of my hand. "Why are you being so stubborn? What a coincidence. Let go of me. George." I turned around to see Nicole walking over with another assistant. Mary froze for a moment when she saw Nicole. "Do you or Miss Nicole from Starlight Group?" Nicole turned her head and looked at her indifferently. "You are." "I am Mary from JIS." Mary hardly handed over her business card. "My parents contacted you before. They wanted to collaborate with Starlight Group on daily necessities and become your distributor. Our bidding for this year has already ended," Nicole said with a polite smile. "If your company is interested, you can bid again next year." "Nicole, could you reconsider our company?" Mary said in a panic. "My parents know you like to travel and want to invite you." "Miss Mary," Nicole interrupted her. "My personal preferences have nothing to do with company decisions." "I miss Nicole. George at the Venus Group's front desk is the boyfriend of JIS." Tom suddenly chimed in. having approached without me noticing. Everyone was stunned. Mary looked at Tom with a puzzled frown, while Tom stepped forward and smiled. Miss Nicole, JIS is indeed sincere. Knowing that your family has a good relationship with the Venus family, they let George work at the Venus Group's front desk to impress you. It's up to you whether you can give JIS a chance, right, George? Nicole was taken aback and looked at me. He's my ex-boyfriend, I corrected. Miss Nicole. Mary seemed to have caught on to Tom's intention and immediately put on a big smile. George is just joking with you. We haven't broken up. He came specifically to buy a birthday gift for my mom today. George may not know much, but we genuinely want to befriend you. Over the years, Starlight Group has never collaborated with JIS Group, and we think it's a pity. This isn't about ex-girlfriends and ex-boyfriends. Nicole ignored her and directly asked me, when did you become the front desk of Venus Group? Before I could speak, Tom interjected, George, how can this be fake? Forging a work badge. Mary's face gradually darkened. Miss Nicole, actually I understand Miss Mary's intention. You want to discuss collaboration, right? Nicole waved her hand. Starlight Group's bidding has ended this year, but Venus Group's hasn't. Why don't you talk to the assistant to the president of Venus Group first? Mary's face lit up with surprise. Great. That assistant is... This is the assistant to the president of Venus Group. Nicole looked at me. Since you already know each other, I want to introduce you. After saying that, she reminded, but he's very busy. Remember to make an appointment in advance. A few days later, I scheduled the time to meet and sat across from me with a grim expression. I actually didn't want to make things difficult for her, but detaching from emotions was indeed a valuable practical experience. With a business-like attitude, I communicated the issues and the materials to her, but she suddenly interrupted me. How did you become the assistant to the president of Venus Group? I replied calmly. We're discussing business. What did you sell out? She raised her voice. I was taken aback. It's hard for even top graduates to get into the grassroots positions of Venus Group. After you graduated, you only had experience doing odd jobs at JIS Group. How could you suddenly be hired as the president's assistant? Her eyes were red as she grabbed me. I worked so hard to save you back then, protected you, and loved you all these years just for you to warm another woman's bed. Let go. I frowned. I won't let go. She stubbornly clung to me, pushing into my embrace. Have you forgotten? You are mine. You have always been mine. Don't think I can't see that Nicole is interested in you. Her gaze is just like those women who liked you before. She arranged for you to join Venus Group to avoid suspicion. Right? Well, right? Does Nicole have to have you? Has she saved you? She's just a little richer than me, George. See clearly. She can have any man she wants. She's just playing you. Once she's tired of you, you'll be thrown away like garbage. No woman in this world will treat you better than I do. Wake up, I said in a deep voice. Let's resign now, and after Mom's birthday, we'll get married. So what if we offend Starlight Group and Venus Group? We won't do business with them anymore. Let go. I shook off her hand. She turned her head, her eyes already red. I really love you. Why can't you understand? I looked at her calmly. We've already broken up. Why don't you understand? What breakup? We just had a fight. I shook my head. Mary, you don't understand. You're just used to it. For so many years, every time we fought about breaking up, I would always come back to you. But this time is different. I handed the materials back to her. The business issues of JIS Group are all written on it. I'm afraid they won't meet the requirements of Venus Group, and the same goes for us. We can't go back. We just can't go back. After Mary left, I sat alone in the conference room for a long time. Saying the words "can't go back" out loud had a destructive impact on me, not any less than it did on her. The girl I once cherished and liked so much has ultimately come to this point with me. My phone vibrated. It was a message from Mary. I know I was wrong that day. I drank too much and asked you to bring me wine. It was my fault. I only realized you had a fever after I found the fever medicine on your bedside. George, I don't care about your relationship with Nicole during this time. As long as you come back, I will still be yours. Come back. I'm your Mary. If you ignore me, I will keep looking for you until you change your mind. George, after so many years of feelings, you can't just let me go. Finally, she sent a photo. It was the scar on her shoulder. Suddenly, I felt very annoyed, as if a damn cotton ball was stuck in my heart, and I added Mary to my blacklist. As the sun set, the lights outside the floor-to-ceiling windows began to shine, creating a scene of prosperity. "So you are here." The door opened, and I turned around. It was Nicole. She walked over to me. "I heard you met Mary today. Was it not going well?" I nodded. "Yeah, I was thinking of handling it as a business matter, but I was still affected by my emotions." "I think you've done well," she said, sitting down next to me. "After all, people are not robots. My mom used to tell me that anyone in a managerial position will have many people trying to influence your emotions and decisions. It's a hurdle you have to get over." "I know, but I'm not in a good mood today either," she said, resting her head on the table. I looked at her disappointed expression. "So, do you want to go out for a walk?" Nicole somehow got hold of 2 bicycles. She took me out riding through the streets and alleys on a summer night, eating various street foods at each stop. I felt like a little animal being fed stinky tofu, fish cakes, fried pastries, and chicken skewers. I looked at Nicole, who was happily eating across from me, and finally couldn't help but ask, "Why do I feel like you don't seem to have any worries?" "Huh? How could I not?" She smiled, casually tucking her loose hair behind her ear. "I have a lot of worries. My sister is very accomplished, so for a while, I was anxious, afraid that I wouldn't be recognized by others like she is. And then I realized that I actually don't need their recognition. You just need to be yourself to become excellent, and they will naturally submit." I smiled. "Yeah, what you said makes a lot of sense." She smiled too. "I knew you would understand." Her gaze fell on the nearby basketball court. "George, can you play basketball?" "I can play basketball. In fact, I play quite well, but during college, there were always girls coming to watch me play, and some even fought to bring me water. Mary wasn't happy about it, and after a few arguments, I stopped playing. Now, there are only the 2 of us on a basketball court. Nicole has been practicing ballet since elementary school and has never played basketball. Like this? Raise your hands. Yes, go. I corrected her movements. "Why do you like playing basketball?" she asked curiously. "Because it's cool to play." I helped her adjust her posture. "Have you seen Slam Dunk?" She shook her head. "In the past, I always thought the male leads in anime and idol dramas were really good at basketball, so I practiced hard, imagining myself as one of them. But later, playing basketball became my most direct way to relieve stress. The exhilarating competition, the thrilling struggle often makes you forget other worries and focus on the present. Unfortunately, I haven't played in a long time." At that moment, Nicole raised her hand and threw a ball. Clang! And surprisingly, it went in. She was extremely excited, jumping around, and seeing her happy made me feel better too. "Nicole, do you want to watch Slam Dunk?" I took Nicole to a drive-in movie theater in the suburbs. The theater was showing Slam Dunk. So, basketball is interesting. After watching, Nicole still felt unsatisfied. "When I was a kid, I loved Sakuragi Hanamichi the most, and I still do." I said many people have different opinions about this movie and don't understand why Miyagi is the main character. I actually feel a bit regretful too, but I understand the author. We all hope to be geniuses like Sakuragi, but most people, like Miyagi, come from ordinary backgrounds and work hard step by step. As long as you be yourself, work hard, and don't give up, you'll have the chance to score the winning goal. Even if you don't score, just being on the court is without regret, right? I think what you said makes a lot of sense, like a philosopher. Nicole blinked. One sentence made me laugh. "You're so easily convinced by others." "It's easy for men to deceive you," she snorted. I wouldn't, but in the next sentence, her voice suddenly lowered. "I only believe in those I like." A week later, I began to try to independently manage some company affairs, starting with a golf club at home. One day at the club, my assistant, Xiao Xiao, said someone was looking for me outside. "Me?" "Yes, that person heard from somewhere that the old master handed the club over to you, and he came with a gift, insisting on seeing you." I frowned. When I went outside, sure enough, it was Mary's father. He was holding a box, and the flattering smile on his face disappeared the moment he saw me. "George, what are you doing here?" He widened his eyes. "A couple of days ago, Tom told me you were a watchdog at Venus Group, and I didn't believe it. You actually came to this golf club to embarrass yourself." I told Mary long ago that you were not a good person, he sneered, taking out a camera to take pictures. Now I've caught you red-handed. Don't think just because you were familiar that you can get a membership at this club. It's not easy to get in, and not just anyone can join. I quietly looked at him, sitting by the tea table, pouring myself a cup of tea. Indeed, not just anyone can join. Otherwise, you wouldn't have submitted 10 applications without success. What did you say? He raised his hand in anger. George, let me tell you, with your current behavior, I will never agree to let you into my JIS family. I sipped my tea leisurely. You should think about why you can't get into this club. Just then, Xiao Xiao came over with Mary's father's application materials. It's Assistant Xiao. Mary's father immediately put on a smile. Has our little president not come out yet? Xiao Xiao looked at me, then at Mary's father. Isn't this our little president? His smile froze on his face as he looked at me. Then it's Xiao Xiao. Assistant Xiao is just joking. What joke am I making with you? Xiao Xiao said, confused. Our boss is quite busy today and specifically said to set aside time for your interview. Boss, he turned to me. Do you need any more materials? No need. I threw the materials on the table and stood up. The interview is over. Wait a minute. After a while, Mary's father seemed to realize something and suddenly chased after me, grabbing my sleeve. George, he forced a smile. Look at this misunderstanding. The flood washed away the Dragon King Temple. Turns out we are all family. I pull my hand away from his grip. Have you forgotten? You just said you would absolutely not agree to let me into the JIS family. Oh, what are you talking about? We've been dealing with each other for so long. I've long regarded you as my own son. Sorry, a cold voice came from behind. My son is not planning to recognize a father everywhere. I turned around. Dad, my dad strode over, exuding an icy aura. JIS, right? You were the father of my son's ex-girlfriend. Over the past few years, it was you who made my son serve tea and water at your JIS, wasn't it? Mary's father was stunned. Misunderstanding. It's all a misunderstanding. I regard George as my son-in-law. My son from the Venus family will not be his son-in-law. My dad, already taller than Mary's father, looked down at him like a king. Of course, if this is the custom of the JIS family and JIS is willing to come to the club every day to serve tea and water, I could consider making you a low-level member based on your performance. Mary's father stammered, and in the end, he fled with the gift in hand. Check if any of those who get along well with him have memberships at our club. If they do, cancel them all. My dad instructed coldly, then turned and patted my shoulder. George, I'm sorry. I wish I had found you a few years earlier. I shook my head and gave him a hug. In fact, I had already obtained the most precious thing in the world. After all, what could be more valuable than family who unconditionally stands by you at all times? Those distant people and matters no longer mattered. I just hope to grow up soon and become their support in the future. Because I was busy with the golf club matters, I hadn't seen Nicole for several days. That noon, after having lunch with my mom, I went to the Starlight Group. In the past, I found that the people at Starlight Group were whispering. You don't know yet, George. The assistant to the president, who knew me and my identity, whispered to me, we're all talking about that temp. The second young lady has been coming to help the eldest young lady recently. So, she's been at the company these days. And a while ago, didn't we need to sort out some files? So we hired a few temp workers from an outsourcing company, and one of the male employees is quite something. Ever since he saw this second young lady, his gaze has been glued to her. That's not all. This guy deliberately wears that tight outfit, running back and forth to the office with coffee for no reason. And it seems the second young lady is actually into his act. He clicked his tongue twice. This second young lady, it seems she can't escape the norm. Just then, the office door opened. The assistant made a shushing gesture to me and nodded towards that direction. Nicole was the first to come out, followed by Tom, who was wearing a tight outfit. Seeing me, Nicole smiled and said, George, you're here. Come have lunch with me and the client. I nodded, and Tom glanced at me, quickly stepping forward to stand next to Nicole. The journey was silent. Only the sound of Tom's tight outfit rubbing against itself could be heard. When we reached the private room of the restaurant, Tom still sat next to Nicole, his eyes shining as he said, "Miss Nicole, can we order some king crab later?" Nicole smiled and replied, "Let's wait until the guest arrives to order the big dishes." At that moment, the door opened, and Tom and I both froze. It was Mary. Tom was equally surprised to see her. "What are you doing here?" Tom hesitated for a moment, but was immediately interrupted by Nicole. "Let's serve the dishes." Suddenly, the TV in the private room turned on. The screen showed Nicole's office, where Tom was eagerly placing a cup of coffee in front of her. "Aren't you Miss Mary's friend?" Tom said. "Actually, I'm not very familiar with Miss Mary. She pursued me, but I haven't agreed. After all, George and she are a couple. I never play the third wheel, and I don't like her. To be honest, I'm not very impressed with Mary's character. Last time at the mall, she wouldn't let you go, and I really found it embarrassing. The JIS group still has some core technology. Didn't they recently apply for a patent for a confidential technology? She could now make three-point shots." While we were resting by the court, I suddenly conjured a bouquet of bright red flowers. "Actually, I've always wanted to tell you," I said the lines I had prepared. "We really look like a family, huh?" I sighed. I knew this confession might be a bit cliché, but it's my first time confessing to a girl, and I thought about it for several days before coming up with it. She stared at me in a daze. I handed her the bouquet. "Nicole, I used to be suppressed so much that I lost confidence in myself. But just like playing basketball, you have to bravely lift the ball and try before you can score, right? A good partner won't let you stay in place with her, nor will she confine you in a cage, but will walk alongside you. So will you." She looked at me for a moment, suddenly jumped up and hugged my neck. "Actually, I also think," she whispered in my ear, "we really do look like a family." That night on the basketball court, I set off a lot of fireworks. Nicole quietly leaned on my shoulder, watching the sky turn vibrant colors. Before long, Anthony and Emily arrived, bringing more fireworks. As we prepared for the next round of fireworks, Anthony asked me, "What are you planning to do about the JIS family?" I wasn't planning to deal with those clowns again, but if I don't teach them a lesson, they won't remember, and it will be a hassle in the future. Speaking of lessons, I can handle that. Nicole winked and pulled Emily to stand beside her, saying they wanted to put on a domineering show. "The wind is picking up," she said with a deep gaze. "Then how about this?" The two of them raised their heads and pointed to the sky together. "Let JIS go bankrupt." Anthony and I both laughed at their adorable appearance. Anthony leaned in and whispered, "My wife has recently started reading male-oriented novels, and it seems Nicole is watching them too. They even share their thoughts on the books when they have time. I have to say they really act the part." We exchanged a glance and laughed in unison. The female CEO. Who reads novels? That's kind of cute. The financial scandal of the JIS group quickly became a trending topic. During the investigation into the JIS group, more issues were uncovered, including counterfeit goods and substandard products being passed off as genuine. The JIS group's financial chain has collapsed, and no banks are willing to lend money anymore. "Those who do evil will bring about their own demise," Nicole lamented. "You're merely exposing the good deeds that the JIS group has done over the years. Their fate will naturally be determined by the consumers they have deceived." Occasionally, I hear news about Mary and Tom from my former college classmates. After the JIS family fell from grace, all of Mary's close friends cut ties with her, fearing she would ask to borrow money. Tom and Mary had a falling out. On one side, the JIS group accused him of stealing company secrets, while on the other, several girls' boyfriends exposed his flirtatious chat records with those girls. This incident caused quite a stir, and one of the boyfriends was a bit extreme, directly hiring someone to beat him up. Tom was left disabled and is still in a lawsuit with that person. However, none of this concerns me anymore. I have fully taken over the business from my father and am also preparing to marry Nicole. That day, as I stepped out of the company, I saw a beautiful sunset. How nice. Today, tomorrow, the future, all are good days.